So today, we're jumping into one of the most transformative, yet completely misunderstood times in a person's life, the period right after childbirth. It's this time that's just full of myths and crazy expectations, so let's get into what the fourth trimester is really all about. All right, first things first, we have got to talk about the biggest myth out there, the 6-week bounce back. Society, culture, maybe even our own expectations tell us that after one quick doctor's visit, we're supposed to be magically fixed, cleared for everything. But the reality? Well, it's just so different. A full physical and emotional recovery, that can take anywhere from 6 to 18 months, sometimes even longer. And look, this isn't about being negative. It's about being real so we can set ourselves up for healing, not for suffering.
So, that's what we're going to do here. We're going to take that 6-week myth and just pull it apart piece by piece. We're going to look at what's actually going on in the body and mind and build a much more realistic and honestly, a much more compassionate way of looking at this whole journey.
And believe me, this isn't just about getting through those first few tough months. As Dr. Mary Rosser says here, this period is foundational. The way a parent is cared for right after birth can literally impact their health for the rest of their life. So yeah, this time matters. It matters a whole lot.
Okay, but get this. This is a reality check that's, well, it's kind of shocking. Even with how critical this time is, only about 40% of mothers actually make it to their postpartum follow-up visit. What does that tell you? It tells us there is a huge gap in our system of care, and it's exactly why we need to be having this conversation.
Part of the problem is we don't even have the right words for this stuff. The old vocabulary, it just doesn't work. So to really get a handle on this period, we need some new language. Let's define 2 really key terms that give us a much clearer picture of what's going on.
First up, the fourth trimester. This term was actually coined by pediatrician Dr. Harvey Karp, and it refers to those first 12 weeks after birth. And what's so brilliant about this idea is that it reframes everything. It helps us see that this is a period of continued development, not just for the parent, but for the baby, who is still adapting and is basically a fetus, just, living on the outside now.
And then there's this term which is a total game changer for the parent, matrescence. Seriously, just think of it like adolescence. It's not a disorder, it's not a problem we need to fix. It is a massive developmental transition. It's a complete rewiring of who you are, physically, psychologically, socially, the whole shebang. And just having a word for it, it's so validating for that huge identity shift so many new parents feel.
So what's the engine behind all this massive change? Well, a huge part of it is biology. Specifically, it's the absolutely wild hormonal cascade that happens right after birth. I mean, the shift is it's breathtakingly dramatic. In the first 48 hours after birth, your body goes through a hormonal crash that's more extreme than puberty and menopause combined. Estrogen and progesterone just fall off a cliff. This is what can lead to that peak of the baby blues in the first couple of weeks. It's a true hormonal storm before things even start to level out months down the road.
Let's break that down a bit. These are the key players in this hormonal cocktail. You've got estrogen and progesterone disappearing, which brings on mood swings and those lovely night sweats. But at the same time, you've got oxytocin, the love and bonding hormone, and prolactin for milk production surging like crazy. And all the while, your stress hormone, cortisol, is staying high to help you power through. It's a biological tug-of-war, and your body is right in the middle.
So, what's the result of this wild hormonal roller coaster? Well, for up to 80% of new mothers, it's the baby blues. This is so important to hear. Seeing this number helps normalize the whole experience. If you're feeling weepy, anxious, or just totally overwhelmed in those first couple of weeks, you are in very good company. It's a direct physiological response. It's biology. It is not a personal failing.
Okay, so understanding the why is huge, right? But it's only half the battle. We also need to know how to get through it. Knowing the biology means we can respond with real care and intention. So let's get practical and walk through a checklist for recovery: body, mind, and nutrition.
All right, on the physical side, the main message is simple, but it's also radical in our culture. Be gentle with yourself. Your body just ran the equivalent of a marathon and then some. This means rest is not a luxury, it's mandatory. Literally lying down whenever you can, using ice for pain, avoiding lifting anything heavier than your baby, and focusing on super gentle movement, like a slow walk, which can actually help with healing.
And when we say gentle, that's exactly what we mean. We are not talking about jumping back into intense workouts. We're talking about simple things like activating your pelvic floor or doing deep breathing exercises. This isn't about getting a six-pack. It's about gently reconnecting with your core and helping your body heal from the inside out.
Okay, let's talk about mental well-being, which is just as important. Like we said, the baby blues are super common. But if those feelings of deep sadness or anxiety stick around for longer than 2 weeks, or they start getting worse, that could be postpartum depression or PPD. And the absolute most important thing to hear is this: reaching out for help is not weakness. It is the strongest, bravest thing you can do for yourself and for your family, period. And of course, you can't possibly heal without the right fuel. Your body's nutritional needs are actually higher right after birth than they were in the 3rd trimester. If you're breastfeeding, we're talking about 500 extra calories a day. So this is not the time for salads and dieting. Think warm, comforting, easy-to-digest foods like stews, broths, and healthy proteins that will help your body literally rebuild itself.
Okay, so let's pull all of this together. It's time to officially throw that old, broken timeline in the trash. We have to let go of this immense pressure to bounce back and instead learn to embrace a more patient, more personal approach to recovery.
Because here's the truth. Your recovery is going to be completely unique to you. It won't look like your friends or that influencers on social media. Everything from how much sleep you're getting to your hormones, your fitness level before pregnancy, even your genetics, it all plays a part. There's absolutely no one-size-fits-all timeline.
In this quote right here, it just says it all perfectly. This is not a race. It's not a competition. It is a deep, personal journey of healing and becoming. You have to give yourself the grace and the time that your body has more than earned.
And that really leaves us with one last really big question to think about. Now that we know all this, now that we understand the reality of the 4th trimester, what do we do? How can we, as friends, as partners, as a society, create a culture that actually honors this vulnerable and sacred time? That is the conversation we all need to start.